Hey, this is the Trump Democrat here. So right now I'm just going to take a minute to talk about, I know minute, my videos are usually long, but this one isn't going to be that long. I just want to take a minute to talk about wages and, one of the things you can say when someone on the economic right, the fiscal conservative side, when they are obfuscating and they are kind of conceding in a way that wages are down, but they're trying to downplay that by saying, well, companies today spend more on benefits and such, and so therefore, the wages are not, or they're down, but they're not really down. They're not like a lot lower. I mean, there may be a little bit, but not really, significantly. Now, this is going to be a little difficult if you're talking to your average 19-year-old libertarian who's, has very limited real world experience and thinks that the world is what is described in libertarian books and thinks that the image that they portray is in any way reality. So the core argument on the economic left on this issue, on those who say that capitalism has failed because wages are stagnant and in many cases going down while costs of living are rising rapidly, um, which is true. So when anybody brings up benefits, you can say, well, do, do you remember your employer sponsored healthcare plan, say 20 years ago, maybe 25 years ago, or even 15 years ago? So 15 years ago, I hadn't been in the workforce all that long, but I was becoming full time and beginning to have benefits and you know so think back to that those initial plans that you got back then, were they more generous? Did they cover more things than today, or did they cover less things than today? And were the premiums higher or lower? And I'm going to say that they covered basically the same, if not more things than today, and that the costs were substantially lower when considered against inflation and what you were making back then. Now, even by the time I entered the workforce, companies had already stripped down their retirement plans considerably from what they were, in say the 1970s and before that. So if you compare what somebody gets now with their retirement plan from their employer with, say, a circa 1975 plan, chances are the plan today is going to cost more, it's going to take more from the employee, and it's going to give you less when you retire. So it's in every way a worse plan, a worse option for the employee. And even when I started the workforce, companies that I worked for didn't treat their 401k plan contribution rates as a slush fund for them to, suspend and do whatever they want with anytime they decide, oh, it'd be nice for us to have a little extra money to spend on things like stock buybacks. Or, as with the company I work for now, to use that money to try to leverage a hostile takeover of another company whose board members don't want anything to do with you. So when he says to the board members of another company, "Oh, look, some of your employees still have some discretionary benefits that they're getting. We can come in, we can cut those out right away and pocket the difference. I don't see why you're not on board with that." And if they are just a little perceptive and a little forward thinking, that they realize that might not be the best thing to do long term. Us destroying our ability to attract decent quality employees and retain, you know, decent people who won't just leave at the first opportunity. I mean, no, your kitchen staff, they can take a week off. I mean, everybody needs a week off now and then. I mean, they won't get paid for it, but that they can, save up a little bit every week and then it won't matter. And take people who had decent, even decent union jobs, like my stepfather. Uh, he recently retired. If you were to start at his company, even though you're a union member, um, if you were to start tomorrow, you could be there just as long as he was. You could work just as hard, if not harder. And would you ever accrue the same kind of vacation benefits you know, that he enjoyed because he was, there for 30 some years? No, you would never get to that level. Why? Because you don't deserve it? No, it's just because they don't give out that much vacation anymore. Tough. So with benefits, it's just the same as with cash wages. Capitalism in the workforce, and as it relates to employees, is the snake eating itself. It's the same thing whether it be cash pay or benefits too. So when anybody from the economic right, any of these uh, libertarian apologists, they try to say that, oh, when you consider wages, you have to consider benefits too. No, it's the same thing going on there. Benefits today are worse than they were before, and you think that's okay. You like that. You want it to be even worse in the future because you are apparently under some delusion thinking you're going to be one of the few that get to profit from that.